or you're not. You're either using the muscle or you're not using it. You're either living or you're dying in the mind of the church. Which then brings in our discussion from yesterday about what it means to love. Authentic love, yes.
I just want to say that isn't in the mind of the church that you have to love everyone. You just don't have to like them. And to be out of love is to sin. Or is that not right?
Yes, there is different, there's basically, because when we're talking about liking everyone and loving everyone, I think what the church really is saying is, like, you don't have to know everyone. There's to love. There are basically a little bit variations of love in terms of, love for all people, as opposed to love that I would share with a friend, type of a thing. And so I don't have to necessarily know everyone on the same level that I know my wife or my husband or my whatever, in order to still love them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you love them because they're made from God.
Exactly. They have human dignity. Yeah, exactly.
You fall into sin when you start using hatred, or you go against love. My whole point is that you don't have to, say, I don't care for Alicia. I just think she's rude.
Well, we don't have to pretend that because you don't like Alicia.
I mean, clearly, but
right.
I didn't want to hurt her feelings.
Okay.
I don't care for her at all.
Okay.
I love her. I just don't like her. I mean, technically.
Yeah, we get into that. That was what.
You have love for them.
We get dicey there, I think, though, when we really start to say, I don't like her. I think it depends. Like, if you could say,
you don't like the actions.
Yeah, or like the personality. Maybe our personalities just aren't. But when you start to, I know what you're saying, and I've heard that. That's been, like, when I was in high school, that was what we were always taught. You don't have to like everyone, you just have to love everyone. And I think we get, there's different takes on that. The church doesn't have, it's not in the catechism, liking and loving.
Yeah.
But I think we do have to be careful of how much, we can give ourselves a little bit of leeway by saying, me and this person, our personalities maybe just aren't really on the same page or whatever. But when we start to say, I don't like them, then I don't know where that line is, but I think we need to be careful with that. Yeah. I don't think that there is really a defined line about the difference between them, but I do think we have to start asking if I have a problem with Alicia, then I need to start thinking about why it is and kind of working to get past that, not just kind of content to be different, or not different, but content to not like her. I can't just kind of rest in the fact that I don't like someone, if that makes sense. I should at least be working at it, okay? And I think what you said too is a good point that we need to consider. Nice catch. Okay. Is hatred, is it either I'm loving and then I start to sin when I start to hate? Well, the church is actually saying, no, I start to sin when I'm not loving, when I'm just choosing to do nothing, if that makes sense. Okay? If I'm choosing to not love, to not actively love, then I'm actually already starting to sin there, because now what I'm called to do, what I'm made to do, I'm not doing, and I'm dying, in a sense. Does that make sense? Okay, so sin, a lot of times we think sin has to be when we're growing up and we're younger. We think, oh, well, yes, he sinned because he got in a fight with somebody. Or he sinned because he cussed. Or he sinned because he did something wrong. But sin can be simply doing nothing. Can be not loving. Can be sitting there apathetic completely to the world around you and just wanting to get by with your day. That is sinful. 2, because you're not doing what we are made to do. And that's not the church saying, you better get out there and love for us, you have to work for us, you're an employee of God. The church knows that if we're not doing this, then we are. The church wants us to be loving and feeling that. And they know what happens to people that don't. There's no happiness there. Okay? And, yeah. Any questions? Thoughts, comments on any of that? Okay. Sorry.
Can't you commit sin out of love?
Can you commit sin out of love? Tell me some more. What do you think? What are you thinking?
Reference to Spider-Man 3, the movie. Right?
Spider-Man 3.
The same
Okay.
man had a daughter who was very sick and she needed surgery or some machine.
Okay.
So, out of love, he went and was going to get money
Yeah.
for her.
Right.
Because he loved her.
Okay.
He wanted her to live.
Okay. Yeah.
Steal for every
So can you steal, can you commit a sin out of love? Is that basically? No. Is it possible to commit a sin out of love? I understand exactly what you're saying. That's a good question.
Remember Mr. Finney's class, he was talking about OIC, the object,
Intention.
time and circumstance, something like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
For every sin, there's the reason why.
Yeah.
And like basically.
The one thing that you can sometimes be allowed to do, and this is a big debate raging right now, actually, even among Catholics. You can make the case that the one thing that you can do to that you could sometimes break would be lying or stealing. And the example that St. Thomas Aquinas uses for stealing is if you are starving to death. It can be morally permissible to steal in that instance. Like in Haiti, yeah, depending, And then lying, you have this big debate raging right now about that, because how many of you have heard about the thing that's going on with Planned Parenthood? Anybody heard about that? There's a girl that's she's a Catholic, she's like your age. Which I think she's in college right now. But she's made she's all over the Fox News, CNN, everybody's having her on their shows. She goes into Planned Parenthood. She doesn't do it anymore, but she's got a team of people that will go into Planned Parenthoods all over the country and pretend to be running a sex operation, like an underground, what's the word? Child prostitution ring or something like that, sex trafficking, okay? And the Planned Parenthoods, they'll film it. They have like an undercover camera, and they've caught Planned Parenthood 15, 20 different times all over the country, these employees trying to help them get abortions or contraception instead of reporting the abuse, which is a federal mandate that you have to. So the question now is it morally permissible for her and her group?
Yeah, I don't understand. What's she
She's exposing, she's trying to prove that Planned Parenthood is actually not out there trying to help women as much as it is trying to get make money off of abortions. Okay? So
acting like they have babies.
So this woman has a group of 10 people on her team. The group's name is called Live Action. Okay? And they have a young man with an undercover camera go into Planned Parenthood and basically want to say, can I talk to one of the counselors? Okay? And so in that counseling session, he basically slowly starts to reveal the fact that he's sex trafficking minor girls, young girls. And he says, their ages, some of them, he's like, some of them are 14, 15 years old. You are supposed to report by federal law anytime a child is being sexually, even if they're choosing it, you have to report it instantly, okay? But Planned Parenthood is not doing that, okay? And so they've shown, and not just that this one employee isn't doing it, but that it's happening, that it's a corporate mentality, because the only way Planned Parenthood makes money is off of abortions. But they show the world, the story they tell is that we're offering all of these women's services and abortion is just one of them. But in actuality, there's a real undercurrent of abortions driving them because that's the only way they make money. So the debate is her group doing the right thing because they're technically lying. The guy who's going in there is not a pimp. He doesn't run a sex operation.
I was doing some research for a paper I wrote, and I had to go in there and look at the brochures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like signs everywhere saying no cameras, no videotapes, none of this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, to protect something. I didn't read it all. I just got the stuff I was reading. How do you even work in a Planned Parenthood? Like, are they nurses or doctors, or how do these people end up there? Are they told by the state they have to work there, or do they?
They're not told by the state. I mean, they can get hired.
Like, what certification do they have? Are they doctors?
That's the thing. How many of you read the paper? Anybody? This morning on the front page of the paper, Indiana House is putting forward a law about trying to defund Planned Parenthood to some extent, and also making it a little bit tighter. One of the rules was interesting. It said Planned Parenthood is fighting this. The Indiana House wants to make Planned Parenthood have to use doctors who have enough credentials to go into a hospital and work. But only one doctor in the state of Indiana who does abortions is currently on that list of doctors who can go in and work in hospitals, in ERs. I don't know.
Are they doctors?
To be honest, I'd have to check. We're gonna look more at Planned Parenthood and other classes, where we're gonna, and I'll look into that a little bit more about what regulations they have. But the state is really wanting. Pro-life people have been pushing for a long time to say some of them aren't even doctors. I mean, the one guy in Philadelphia that killed all the people. I don't know if you guys heard about that. Abortion doctor killed like 5 or 6 kids on abortions that failed, and then ended up killing 2 mothers. I mean, it was horrendous. But we don't hear about that because it's kept quiet by people. That just happened a couple weeks ago. So anyway, it's crazy. We'll get in. I don't know how we got on that, but anyway, lying.
You brought it up, though.
I did. So can you do certain things out of love? Yes, but then also we have to realize a lot of things that people claim to do. You know, I killed this person who's cheating with on my husband. I killed him out of love or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's not really out of love. That's out of anger. You're saying it's out of love, but you're doing it out of hatred and anger and rage. So the church would say that it's never right to do the wrong thing. And we'll get into that more later, okay? But you can never do the wrong thing. The one exception might be stealing or lying in certain cases, depending on the situation there, okay? The one example that's come up with the lying thing is the fact that Moses, or the Israelite midwives, did not report the kids that were being born to Moses's people during the Exodus, in the book of Exodus. But we'll get into that later. Okay, love, hate, anger, rage. All right, great. 1604. Continues, since God created man and woman, their mutual love becomes an image of the absolute and unfailing love with which God loves man. Okay, now this is also important for what we'll do later. Okay, about marriage and what it is supposed to be. And I've already lost the marker that. Oh, here it is. All right. Marriage is supposed to, no, you don't have to yet. Is supposed to represent, and this is key, okay? Because in the mind of the church, this is what marriage is really kind of at the core of what marriage is, okay? God created him, man and woman. Their love becomes an image of the absolute and unfailing love with which God loves man. The love that God has for us. Okay? Now, along with that, I want you to look at the Ephesians 5 quotation. Okay? This is the